Hey everybody, welcome back to the basement. Welcome back to the layout. It is almost York for April 2024. And so I want to just talk a little bit about York, what it is, and what my plans are for the week, and then some of the other things that you can do if you're coming into town for the York event. So let's go ahead and talk about it right here on Chris's Trains and Things. All right, so what is York? Well, York is one of the bigger train shows around, especially here in Pennsylvania. It is a 3-day event put on by the Eastern Division of the TCA in York County, Pennsylvania at the York Fairgrounds. It runs from about noon Thursday. It goes all day Friday, all day Friday, and then about half a day or 3/4 of a day on Saturday. A really fun event. I recommend trying to get there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's kind of a progression. You get some really good deals on some really sought after things on Thursday. But if you have like a white whale engine, something that's really popular and hard to find, if it's there on Thursday at noon, it's probably not there on Thursday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's probably already gone. So if you could only make it on Saturday, I still encourage you to come to the show. It's still a lot of fun, but some of the vendors are going to start packing up. And the one nice thing about Saturday is the prices are going to go down. They're going to try to get rid of some things. They don't want to pack everything back up to take it all the way back home with them. So they might be willing to wheel and deal. Now on Thursday, they might not be willing to wheel and deal because they have 2 more full days of a train show left to try to sell that product. So it's a give and take on which is the best day to go. A lot of people come in and they're going to get a hotel locally in the York area, and they can go to all 3 days. Now, on Wednesday, there's usually pre-show bandit meets in hotels. There's also one that's put up in the Purple Hall at the York Fairgrounds. So each building at the York Fairground has a specific color that the TCA designates. The Orange Hall is the really big one. That's the one that's open to the public. You can go without being a TCA member and get into the Orange Hall. The member hall is the blue, silver, red. I believe the Purple Hall also has layouts running during the show itself. Those are the member-only halls for the most part. So you have to be a TCA member to get into those halls. Now you can sign up for the TCA at the show. When you go down to the Blue Silver Hall, you can go down there and register for the event. You can actually sign up to be part of the TCA there. It is not that expensive to join the TCA. It supports the museum and supports events like the York show. And then you have to pay a registration fee to get into the show. If you register early, if you've gone to the York show before, they'll send you usually a pamphlet or flyer or email. You can register early and save some money on that as well. It's not that expensive to get in, and it's well worth it if you've never experienced York and all that it has to offer. Now, the show ends in the afternoon, early evening. So what are you going to do for the rest of your day? Well, there's a lot of great things to do around the area. One of my favorite things to do, and one thing that I recommend to anybody coming into town, is to stop by the Lower Susquehanna Valley Modular Railroad Club. They are located on 2nd Street in Columbia, Pennsylvania, about a 25-minute drive from the York Fairgrounds or so. And it's a great operating layout with even better guys that are there. And you can bring some trains that you bought at the show and run them on their layout. They have a Legacy, they have DCS as well. So you can go there and actually run your trains on the club layout, which is really neat. So the Susquehanna Valley Club, you can see some pictures and videos on my channel. They've got a really large setup. It's a big, rectangle that's running. They've got multiple loops that you can run your trains on. You can stop by there on Wednesday, April 17th from 1 to 10 p.m., Thursday and Friday from 5 to 10, or Saturday, the 20th, from 1 to 7 p.m. They will be open. There will be club members there to welcome you. They're very, very accommodating and welcoming and kind people that just want to help expand the hobby, and they love bringing new people in to come hang out with them, talk trains, ask them questions about the layout. They're working on a final layout design, so definitely go check them out if you're in the area. They are located at 21 North 2nd Street in Columbia, Pennsylvania. Not a far drive from the fairgrounds, so be sure to check them out if you need something else to do. Of course, you also have Strasburg. Strasburg's about a 45 to 60-minute drive away from the fairgrounds, but what do you have in Strasburg? Well, you've got the railroad, you've got the choo-choo barn. There's a lot of things to do train related in Strasburg. It's pretty famous for that. So that's something that you can do also, is swing out over there and check out Strasburg. Now, the Choo Choo Barn and the Strasburg Hobby Shop, they close at about 5 o'clock every day, even on the weekends. So if you're at the fairgrounds late and you're trying to get over there to the Choo Choo Barn, odds are they're going to be closed unless they put up some special York hours this year, which I haven't seen them do in the past. You also have the TCA Museum. So the National Toy Train Museum is there in Strasburg as well, right after the first crossing of the railroad on Paradise Lane. You can check that out. You also have the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania. Now that also closes around 5 o'clock as well, so be sure to check the hours before you make the drive out from the fairgrounds if you're there in the evening. All right, so again, York is coming up here in just about a week and a half. We're really excited that, again, I will be there. My plan is to be there Thursday afternoon and Friday. I cannot be there on Saturday this year. We've got too many things going on here at the house. I've got T-ball that I'm helping to coach. My daughter's got softball as well, so we're splitting the household and going into separate ball fields that morning to do those types of things, so I won't be there on Saturday. Now, back in the fall, we held our YouTubers meet and greet. It was the third iteration of that. The first time it was put on, Chris from RBP Trains really helped organize it. It was him, Jason, Norm Charbonneau, and Eric Siegel from Eric's Trains. And then in the springtime, we did it again. And it was a different group of folks. It was myself, it was Sid from Sid's Trains, RJ from RJ's Trains, and Sean from Dackman Productions. And then in the fall of 2023, we helped organize it again. It was myself, it was Jason, Chris from RBP Trains, Eric Siegel, and Peachy from Peachy's Trains. And that was a lot of work and legwork to get that organized and then try to get we had some vendors to help us and sponsored some things. We ended up having a ton of giveaways and had a nice conversation with some folks. And I told the TCA after that event that I wasn't going to be able to commit to this event here in the spring because I just knew I was going to have too many things going on and didn't even think about the fact that I might have T-ball and softball happening as well. Those are add-on things. So I'm really glad that I told them back then, hey, I'm not going to be able to organize this for the spring. I'm going to plan to be back and help organize for the fall. I might not be on the panel myself, but I want to help organize it to make it a really great event that's welcoming for all folks. So hopefully when we go back in the fall, I'll be able to organize that event. They are advertising that they originally advertised that they're going to do 2 meet and greets. I don't know if that's going to happen, but they're still planning as of this time, 6 a.m. on April 9th, that they are going to be holding a YouTube event. So they haven't announced who that's going to be, but that would typically be held in the Veranda Hall at 11 a.m. on Saturday. Again, I won't be there. I'll be at practice. But hopefully they can get that organized. And I will plan to help support that event in the fall and get some folks to participate in that. And maybe we can get some more giveaways again, because that was a lot of fun last year. At least I enjoyed it. And it's always good to give some new trains away and put it in people's hands. So that's all I've got for you today. Let's go ahead and jump over to viewer mail. All right, so our question today comes from Dave, or Flintlock Hunter on YouTube, who's a viewer of our channel and a really nice guy. So Dave asks, he goes, hey Chris, here's one for your viewer mail. I have a question on the Lionel Super Bass units, powered/non-motor, correct? Correct. There's no motor in the Super Bass units. They are free rolling trucks, but they do have obviously a sound set inside. He said, so can you run those with an MTH or Atlas diesel to try to get more sound, or do they have to be hooked up to a legacy engine? How about running conventional just off a transformer, no remote, or DCS or legacy? Not a question I have seen asked or answered. Thought that you may be the guy to do some testing and to find out. Well, that is certainly something that we're going to need to do some testing on. Now, the Super Bass units still have a legacy board inside, because you're going to pair them as a train in your legacy remote with the powered unit. So that way, when you ramp up the RPMs on the powered unit, the Super Bass unit's going to ramp up as well. When you shut down, they both shut down together. If you are running this with an Atlas or MTH diesel, you're not going to be able to simultaneously do that. And if you have any symptoms of DCS like my layout does, if you have a legacy signal and a DCS signal on the same loop of track, they don't play well together sometimes. Now, technically, you could pull a Super Bass unit behind an MTH or Atlas diesel and not have it connected to anything. Theoretically, it would just be an extra, dummy unit. I don't think you would get the sounds out of it. That we're going to have to test out. Now, I do have one Super Bass unit here on my layout. It is part of my PRR Shark Nose diesel set. So we would have to pull those out, and we're going to do that here on Chris's Trains. So here are my Sharks. These are a little dusty, but we've got the Super Bass unit here, my 2 powered A units. So let's go ahead and pull this out, and we're going to put it behind something else. We'll just put it on a powered track and see if it even does anything. All right, so inside the hood here, we've got some controls. Now we've got our basic program, run program, Bluetooth, and then smoke. And then we've got dialogue. So that means that the speaker in here is going to give you your cab chatter, and then signal is going to be like your horn and bell. So sometimes you might want to turn that off. Now I have, you look in here, I have both those on, so you get them both to come through the A unit and this unit to make more sound. Now when it's up close to the front of the layout, it is kind of nicer just to have just the A unit making those types of sounds, because that's where that sound would be coming from, especially like the horn and so forth. But now we've got power on this track. This unit has not been woken up yet, and there is no sound coming out of it. Now what I'm going to do is turn my power off. I'm going to unplug my legacy base, and then I'm going to put it on my inside loop where I've got my Atlas DCS engines, and see if it starts up then when track power is applied. All right, so that's unplugged. I'm going to turn power on. So now, without the legacy base plugged in, it does start right up. And the smoke unit's going. We're going to turn that smoke unit off because it is loud. There you go. Everything else is starting up on us too. Because any legacy diesels that are on powered track are going to start up. So now it's making sound. I'm going to turn everything off here. So it will start up and make sound when that track power is applied. It's going to be a basic idling sound. So you could technically run that around the layout with something. It's going to create some idling sound. It's not going to rev up or rev down as it's going around the layout, but it does start up. So that is an option there. And I am missing the smoke fluid piece for this B unit. The A unit ones look like this, and mine has popped off at some point in time, which is very frustrating. I need to find a replacement for that. But anyway, so there, you can run that behind an Atlas engine. The issue is if your legacy base is plugged in, it will not start up until you unplug the legacy base or you manually start it up on your remote. And it's just going to give you some basic RPM sounds from what we've been able to test out here. So hope that answers your question, Dave. All right, so there you have it, guys. Thanks so much for watching today. Hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for the viewer mail, Dave. If you have any other questions, comments, photos you want to share of your collection, send them to CTATViewerMail@gmail.com. Hopefully we'll see you at York, guys. If you're going, leave me a comment. What day are you going to be heading to York this year? And if you're not going to York, what's your favorite train show that you go to? Because we're always looking for new ones to go explore. Thanks, guys. Take care.